Alright, so let's use some grunge map to vary the roughness of this leather. To do so, we need to go to generators, and then we can look for noise, and then there are a bunch of different noises. We can search for grunge, and we have many of those variations. This one looks like a leather, so let's try this guy. Let's drag it in. Okay. Whoops. Actually, it doesn't look like leather now, so let me delete that. Maybe just 0, 1. Okay. Alright. Now, right out of the box, we can use this grunge map to blend two colors, and we can tweak those two colors, or we can also have a level at the very end to take them all together. To do so, we can create a blend, and then we can go connect this guy to foreground, and Control C and Control V, and the second guy also to the background, and then the grunge map as the opacity, and that goes to the roughness. And for now, they're the same. And then if I wanted to make the white area, which is the majority, right, to have more roughness, I can of course go change this guy's value. As you can see, some part of the leather is getting dry. Alright. So I want to define two values I think is the extremes of the leather. So dry leather would be more like this, and then smooth leather would be let's see, as much as this, I guess. I don't want it to have a really smooth leather. Maybe that much. Okay. And then we can change the distribution by going to the grunge map, and we can change the balance to have more or less of the shiny leather. Okay, so that's gonna give us a more interesting variation. You can Control Shift and right mouse button to rotate the light to take a look at the result. Okay. Now this is having too much of a contrast, so let me lower down the contrast here. Okay. Alright. Now one more thing I wanted to try is I kind of wanted to be able to manually define some of the areas, not manually, but procedurally define some of the areas, especially those areas that are sticking out. I think because they're being touched more, they probably will be more smooth, so they're more shinier than other areas. Or it could be also that the outer layer of those sticking out area are actually being scratched out, so they're not as shiny. So both ways could work. I'm not sure which way is better, but we can try both. Right. So that means we need to somehow use our texture that we generated here, maybe this one, as a mask. Okay. So one of the things we can try to do is we actually use this as mask, so we can have those two combined together. Okay, so let's create a blend. This is gonna be the background, and this is gonna be the foreground. And then drag this over and connect that to the alpha. Okay, and here we can say we can lower down the opacity. Right, so that for now the concave area are getting more smoothed. Okay, we can also do the offset by switching those two. Now we're getting the the high ground area to be more shiny. And here the blend method, we can also say instead of just copy, we can multiply, right? And here we can change the opacity to something stronger so that the variation will be more visible. Okay. All right. Cool. I think I like the top area to be a little bit more smoother, but I don't know. Maybe we can try to switch those two again and see which one is better. I'm not really sure which one should I go. I think both ways can work. But let's say we want this way, like the concave area to be a little bit more shinier. That means the top area here will be actually being scratched, being touched too much, so that it loses material and becomes something beneath the original paint on top of this fabric shows up. So the color could be different. Now we are using a uniform color for now, so we can actually now go ahead and change that. So we can also use this guy. Let's create a level. Oops, not in there. Level, and we can connect this mask here, and then we can use this guy to blend, or yeah, we can blend. So Control C, Control V, and we blend these two. And again, we have two colors defined, just like how we did our roughness. We have two extreme colors, and we use the alpha to control it. It's the same story here. We can use this guy as the alpha, and the result goes here, and say I can make this color to be a little bit brighter. Actually, this is the darker area. To be darker, maybe a little bit more. I want it to be newer, so I think it should be a little bit more saturated. Okay. And then the top area here, I can make it a little bit more desaturated, so it's kind of like it's weathering out. Okay, some color variation also works. All right. Here there is actually a little trick. If you go ahead and search for leather, not leather map, just leather, and go to images, and you can see those leathers have those color variations. We can actually copy from these, although they're not changing that much. We can use a color picker to help us define a color range. Maybe this one can be useful. So what we do is, instead of using like a blend, we can create a gradient map. Okay, and we can go open the gradient editor. Let's move this guy over here. We can pick color from a image and use that as a gradient. So that means I need to give this guy some space, and I can use the picker. Okay, so let's go ahead and pick gradient and drag. That's gonna give me a gradient like this. All right, okay, close that now. Right, and we can use this guy as input. Now you can see it's using that gradient. It's not a very good idea, as you can see, because it's changing too abruptly. So it's cool though that you can sample color like this. So I don't know, maybe we can try something else. So we can go say clear all, and we can maybe find something simpler. Okay. Or this one may have some more variation. I think I like this one a little bit more. So we're gonna go pick it again. We're gonna select a area from a bright color to dark color. Okay, and we're gonna close this, and this is gonna be the new gradient. Oh, you know what? Because our image is actually having really strong changes, so we are getting some really visible variation. So I think we can blur this. If we can try that. So let me move these away. I may still choose to use this one because this is more controllable than that. Just want to show you some techniques. I'm gonna use blur. Oops, not blend. Blur. Okay. So we have a blurred result. Okay, so that's gonna give us a much smoother transition. Okay. Alright. So you can use either way. I think if you want to have manual control, you can use this, or you can sample image and use that as use a sampled gradient map from a image to define the color. All right. So we have spent some time, and I think we did a pretty good job on the coloring and the roughness. And one thing I think we're missing is imperfection. So we can go ahead and try some imperfections, and then I think that's gonna be the entire tutorial. I'm not sure yet, so we're gonna go ahead and do that.